It is our pleasure to welcome you to this 3-day online workshop on meditation and moderation analysis using SPSS and process macro, organized by the Research and Postgraduate Department of Commerce, St. Berchmans College, under the banner of Enhancing Research Skills in Social Science Online Workshop Series 7. Now, to formally welcome our esteemed resource person, I kindly invite Renumis to deliver the welcome address.
Thank you, Anna. Respected resource person of the day, Professor Dr. Antony Joseph K. Esteemed head of the department, Dr. Sebastian K.S. Distinguished faculty members and dear participants. Good evening to all. It's a privilege to have Professor Dr. Antony Joseph K. with us to lead this workshop for the continuing next 3 days. He was a former head of the Department of Commerce at St. Berchmans College, Changanacherry, and currently he is serving as the Dean of Commerce at St. Kitts College of Applied Science, Pathamutam. His rich experience and expertise will surely enlighten our research journey. The 3-day workshop, spanning from 22nd to 24th January, will surely promise insightful sessions, skill enhancement, and valuable interactions. With immense pleasure, I welcome our Dr. Antony Joseph Sir to this workshop. I'm also delighted to welcome the head of the department, Dr. Sebastian K.S., the program coordinator, Reverend Dr. Tom Antony, and other distinguished faculty members of the department to the workshop. Also, I would like to welcome our participants both from Kerala and outside Kerala for enriching our workshop with diverse perspectives and research interest. Your presence adds vibrant energy to this academic endeavor. Once again, I welcome you all to this workshop. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
So before we begin, a few key points to note. The study materials have been sent to your Gmail accounts. Kindly check your inbox and make use of the materials for your preparation. Also, please keep your microphones muted throughout the session. And feel free to use the raise hand option or the chat box to type your questions. E-certificates as well as recordings of the session will be provided to all registered participants. You may continue.
Okay, can I begin?
Please, sir, you may continue.
Okay. First of all, I would like to thank the head of the Department of Commerce, Dr. Sebastian K.S., and the chief coordinator of the program, Dr. Tom Antony, Father Tom Antony, our dear students and participants. This program gives me an opportunity to speak to people across India. As an introduction, I would like to say, using process macro along with SPSS is a wonderful tool, very simple tool for doing mediation and moderation. So I humbly request all the participants to carefully note down the step-by-step procedures I'm requesting or I'm telling you, so that you will be able to experience it. Whenever you have some questions, you please type it, or by the end of this session, last 15 minutes is earmarked for clearing the queries of the participants. Feel free. I'm also like you, so you can raise your questions. To the extent possible, I will definitely try my level best to clarify the doubts. So let me share the screen. I would like to share the screen. we are actually studying about the causal relationship between variables. Causal relationships can be of three different categories. That is direct causal effect, then mediated causal effect, and moderated causal effect. There will be mediated moderated causal effect also, but the three basic classifications include direct causal effect, mediated causal effect, and moderated causal effect. So let me tell you how the direct causal effect is being tested. You always remember, whether it is mediation or moderation, whatever it be, this is basically a regression analysis. So first of all, my task is to tell you how to execute regression analysis in or with the help of SPSS, under what circumstance this regression is being applied, and what are the conditions to be satisfied while applying regression analysis. I would also like to tell you how to interpret or how to understand the output of regression analysis. So for simple direct causal effect, we are expected to apply regression analysis. I know there are some students, PG students, when I say about causal effect, they may be wondering what it is. So you will definitely understand it. I have some examples with me. So when direct effect of one independent variable on the other dependent variable is studied, the regression is said to be simple regression. You always remember, when we have one independent variable and one dependent variable, and when we are doing a regression analysis, the regression is said to be simple regression. Say we are studying whether a particular independent variable is having some sort of influence on the dependent variable. To what extent the independent variable is influencing or is having an effect on the dependent variable. That is what regression is meant. And regression becomes simple when we have only one independent and one dependent variable. Say, for example, quality of after-sale service may influence the customer's repurchase intention. This is actually a theoretical theory. Quality of after-sale service may influence customers' repurchase intention. You simply imagine the case of a car vending company. Say, for example, Popular or some other companies. The after-sale service, quality of the after-sale service of the car vendor will definitely influence the customer's repurchase intention. If the customer want to make a purchase in future, they will think about the current seller only when the after-sale service was very good. See, imagine we have studied about different types of hypotheses. Can we convert this particular statement into an alternative hypothesis? How can we convert this particular statement into an alternative statement, alternative hypothesis? Because alternative hypothesis is the hypothesis of the researcher. As a researcher, I am not interested in the null hypothesis. I am interested in alternative hypothesis. For testing procedure, we need null hypothesis. But if you are publishing an article in a serious standard journal, you will be showing alternative hypothesis in place of null hypothesis. See, this statement can be converted into an alternative hypothesis simply by removing may out of it. So we can stated in the form of a hypothesis, that is quality of after-sale service influence the customer's purchase intention. If this is the statement, we have two different variables. One is quality of after-sale service and the other is customer's repurchase intention. We believe that as a researcher, as researchers, we believe that repurchase intention is being affected by quality of after-sale service. So repurchase intention becomes the dependent variable and the quality of after-sale service is the independent variable. We are going to study whether to what extent quality of after-sale service is influencing or affecting the customer's repurchase intention. If this is the case, we call it as a simple regression because there is one independent variable and one dependent variable. We want to know the effect of one independent variable on another dependent variable. We call it as a simple regression. I hope you have you got the idea. And see, direct effect of more than one independent variables on a dependent variable is technically known as multiple regression. Direct effect of more than one independent variables, two or more independent variables, how two or more independent variables affecting the one dependent variable. If this is the case, we call it as multiple regression. Say example, quality of after-sale service and perceived brand image may influence the customer's repurchase intention of motor cars. See this, you look at the statement and convert it into an alternative hypothesis. Quality of after-sale service and perceived brand image may influence the customer's repurchase intention. If you remove the may out of it, that becomes, this statement becomes, or this sentence becomes an alternative hypothesis. So quality, we are testing whether quality of after-sale service and perceived brand image influence the customer's repurchase intention of motor cars. See, there are two independent variables. What are they? Quality of after-sale service and the perceived brand image. These are two independent variables and the customer's repurchase intention becomes the dependent variable. When we have two or more independent variables and one dependent variable, the regression is said to be multiple. You always remember that in simple regression or multiple regression, there will be only one dependent variable. Always remember that, only one dependent variable. Number of independent variable may be 1, 2, 3 or any number, but dependent variable, there will be one and only one dependent variable. Okay. Another example for this, quality of work life and classroom satisfaction of teachers influence their life satisfaction. Suppose if some teachers are here, you know, quality of work life and classroom satisfaction, not only the quality of work life, but how far the teachers are satisfied in the classroom. That can definitely influence the life satisfaction. We have two independent variables here. One is quality of work life and other one is classroom satisfaction. These two are independent variable and the life satisfaction is the dependent variable. I think you are getting some ideas when to apply regression analysis. When we want to measure, when we want to identify the effect of independent variable or independent variables on dependent variable, we are expected to apply regression analysis. That's the idea. Another one, level of financial literacy, financial discipline, and financial self-efficacy influence the financial well-being of women. See, I have removed may out of it. Level of financial literacy, financial discipline, and financial self-efficacy influence the financial well-being of women. It can be men also. So there are three different independent variables: level of financial literacy, then financial discipline, and financial self-efficacy. These are three important independent variables, and the dependent variable is financial well-being. Okay, so you can have two or more independent variables in a multiple regression, and there will be only one independent and dependent variable in a simple regression. I'm explaining this because 100% of the participants of this workshop are not having excellent understanding in regression. Some of you may have, but without giving you a proper idea about regression analysis, it is not at all useful teaching mediation and moderation, because everything is based on regression. So while applying regression, we have to see some preconditions or pre-requirements of regression analysis. Let us see what are they. The first and the foremost condition to be satisfied is dependent and independent variables should be correlated. That means uncorrelated variables cannot be used for regression analysis. Dependent and independent variables should be correlated. Then distribution of all the variables should be normal. Distribution of all variables should be normal. The second condition. The third condition is dependent and independent variables should be in linear relationship. Linearity, we call it as linearity. Dependent and independent variables should be in linear relationship. That is, there should be proportionate change in dependent variable when there is change in independent variable. That's what linear relationship means. And homoscedasticity of variables under study. Homoscedasticity of variables under study. This is also a very, very important condition. This means the error terms in a regression analysis should be unique or should be equal among different categories. The error term, the variance among error terms should be equal. That's what homoscedasticity. That is, homoscedasticity means equal scedasticity or equal variance. That's homoscedasticity means equal variance of error terms. And then normality of errors or residuals. Errors or residuals. I have used the term errors or residuals in different places. Those who have no proper understanding about regression analysis, I know exactly 100% of the participants have studied regression. But while studying regression in the classroom, we will not actually try to understand what is this residual, what are errors, and so on. Okay, you remember residuals or errors, that's interchangeably using. This residual refers to the difference between the actual data and the trend value. We have a trend value. We are actually using the regression for some sort of prediction. We have a trend value, and the trend value, the actual values definitely will not be exactly equal to the trend values. The difference should be minimum. The difference between the trend value and the actual value is technically known as residual or the error term. In a regression analysis, we actually represent it by the letter epsilon. Okay. If you have some sort of doubts regarding the theoretical aspects of these terms or these concepts, you are all expected to refer some standard textbooks. You can refer some time series analysis textbooks. Time series by Gujarati is a wonderful book. Or if you want to refer some statistics books, you can refer a book written by Johansson. I will definitely share the name of the book. The book is available in almost all online platforms. Okay. And the next one is free from multi-collinearity of independent variables. Free from multi-collinearity of independent variables. That means the relationship, the correlation between the independent variables should be minimum. That's what the multi-collinearity of independent variable means. Because if there is high degree of correlation between independent variables, say for example, if there are 3 or 4 independent variables and one dependent variable, if all the 3 independent variables are correlated at high level, then the variance explained will be inflated due to the high level of correlation. So the level of correlation between the independent variables should be minimum. There are some standards. Definitely I will explain while showing the original data analysis. Okay. So let us do a simple and a multiple regression based on real data. I'm moving to SPSS. See, this is a data set collected for a PhD study by a student of mine. Actually, this study is related to the financial well-being of women in Kerala by considering so many other variables. See, 469 is the sample size. 469 is the sample size. There are so many variables. First of all, I would like to show you how to run a simple regression analysis. Simple regression analysis. All of you are requested to write down the steps required to execute a regression analysis. First of all, you have to go to analyze. Go to analyze, click on it. You will see this. Okay, we are doing regression, so come to regression. Now we are doing a linear regression, so come to linear regression and click on it. Once again, I would like to repeat. First of all, click on analyze, then come to regression, then to linear regression, because we are doing linear regression at present. That's what I'm telling you. Go for linear regression. Click on it. See, a dialog box like this will appear. Here you can see some boxes. We are interested in boxes like dependent variable and independent. Dependent and independent. You can see here in place of dependent, you have space only for one variable. But in case of independent variable, you can add n number of variables, no problem at all. So first of all, we have to see what is the dependent variable. If you are the researcher, if this is the research data collected by you in connection with your research, definitely you will have very good understanding about what is the dependent variable and what is independent variable. But unfortunately, you are not at all familiar with this. But I would definitely explain you the story, the full story. I have a variable called FWB, that is financial well-being. This financial well-being is the variable that shows the data regarding financial well-being of women in Kerala by taking some 467 or 69 sample. And I have already told you we are actually going to teach you how to execute a simple regression. So we need one independent variable. One independent variable. See, I'm selecting one independent variable out of different variables here. This is the code name of a variable, which is actually financial self-efficacy. Financial self-efficacy. Financial self-efficacy refers to the confidence of a person to deal with the monetary affairs or the money-related or finance-related affairs. So we are actually, when the dependent variable is financial well-being of women, and independent variable is financial self-efficacy, what should be the alternative hypothesis? Can anyone tell? What should be the alternative hypothesis? We are actually believing financial self-efficacy influence financial well-being of women in Kerala. Financial self-efficacy influences the financial well-being of women in Kerala. That is the alternative hypothesis placed here. Okay. Okay, when the regression is actually simple regression, we are not expected to do, we are not expected to test some important conditions, preconditions, like collinearity and so on. The question of collinearity arises only when there are more than one independent variable. If there is only one independent variable, there is no question of collinearity. Okay. Here by default, we have estimate and a model fit. We don't want to click on R square, descriptives and so on. We don't want Durbin-Watson. Durbin-Watson is a test used for testing the homoscedasticity, whether the error terms are equally distributed. Okay, so continue. And then click on OK. See, while clicking OK, you will get another screen. This is known as output screen. You don't want to bother about, actually 4 different tables will appear. Mainly 4 different tables will appear. The first table, you don't want to bother about it. This table shows what is the dependent variable. Dependent variable is financial well-being. And here you can see the another variable, that is financial self-efficacy. See, very carefully look at the model summary table. While doing a regression analysis, you are expected to carefully look at the model summary table, which shows the R and R square. R and R square. R refers to the correlation, Carl-Pearson's coefficient of correlation. That is how far the dependent and independent variables are correlated. The correlation value is actually 0.533. 0.533. These variables are actually correlated. And another variable is R square. You can see adjusted R square also here. Instead of R square, you have to look at adjusted R square. Adjusted R square is more meaningful. So it is actually 0.289. I hope you can see 0.289. 0.289 adjusted R square means, or R square means, when there is 1 unit change in the independent variable, there will be 0.282 unit change in the dependent variable. Once again, I would like to repeat. When there is 1 unit change in the independent variable, the dependent variable will be changed by 0.282. That means 28.2% change in the financial well-being. That is, financial well-being is the dependent variable in our test. So 28.2% change in the financial well-being of women in Kerala is explained by the change in the financial self-efficacy. Or in other words, more clearly we can say 28.2% of the financial self-efficacy can influence 28.2% change in financial well-being of women in Kerala. I hope you got it. This is a very important, very important statistic, R square or adjusted R square. There will be very slight change between R square and adjusted R square. So you can take any one, but in all standard analysis, people will use adjusted R square. And adjusted R square, even though adjusted R square is taken, people will report it as R square. Okay. And then you have to look at Durbin-Watson. I have already told you the purpose of Durbin-Watson, homoscedasticity, whether we are ensuring whether the data is homoscedastic in nature. There is a standard for this. When the actual value of Durbin-Watson is equal to or less than 2 or around 2, the problem of homoscedasticity, the heteroscedasticity is not there. That means the data is homoscedastic in nature. When the Durbin-Watson, the Durbin statistic is around 2 or less than 2, then the condition regarding homoscedasticity is satisfied. So you can see what are the conditions we have actually tested here. The R is there, so correlated. These variables are correlated. Then these variables are homoscedastic in nature. Okay, then you look at the ANOVA. You simply look at the significance value. The significance value is actually 0.000. That means, what does it mean? The model is significant. What is a model? Our model is the hypothesis. The alternative hypothesis is our model. That means financial self-efficacy influences financial well-being of women in Kerala is the alternative hypothesis. That is the model. That model is significant means that means financial self-efficacy is having significant effect on the financial well-being of women in Kerala. Okay. In case of a simple regression, you are actually not required to look at the coefficients table. But in case of a multiple regression, we must be very careful regarding the coefficients table. The only value that is of interesting to us is this standardized coefficients beta. Standardized coefficients beta, that is 0.533. 0.533. This is also useful, much useful only when there are more number of independent variables. Okay, so what we have seen, we have experimented how to do a simple linear regression and how to interpret it. Okay, I hope you have some sort of idea regarding the execution of simple regression. So let me go to a multiple regression analysis. So for doing multiple regression analysis, the procedure is same. Click on analyze. Okay, I think you are noting down. Then come to regression. Then come to linear. Okay. Already we have done a simple regression. Therefore, there is one dependent variable and another independent variable here. We are planning to do a multiple regression here. So we want to add more independent variables. The dependent variable is financial well-being, and we want to add more independent variables. See, we have more independent variables. This is financial behavior or financial discipline of women. Then we have one more variable, that is financial socialization of women. So we have three independent variables here. We are testing whether financial self-efficacy, financial discipline, and financial socialization influence financial well-being of women in Kerala. Okay, so try to write an alternative hypothesis for this test. An alternative hypothesis. Please try to do it. For this test, write an alternative hypothesis in your material. Okay, I hope you have done it. Can anyone read it? You can unmute your mic and tell me what alternative hypothesis you have written. Anybody? You show the confidence. No one is ready. Nobody is following me. Are you really hearing me? Okay, no response at all. Okay. So for okay, Dublin, what we have take model fit, collinearity diagnosis, Dublin Watson, then continue. Then click on plots. Click on plots. First of all, we have to click on histogram and then normal probability plots. Normal probability plots. Then you have to click on Z spread and Z residual. So we are going to draw three different graphs for ensuring that the data is satisfying some basic conditions. Okay, what I have done, clicked on histogram, clicked on normal probability plot, and then Z and Z residual are brought into the two columns. Okay, then continue. Okay, so give OK, click on OK, you will get the result. See, this is the result. You can see the independent variable in this column, in this cell: financial socialization, self-efficacy, financial behavior, or financial discipline. These are the three independent variables, and dependent variable is financial well-being. Look at R. That is the correlation between all the variables. R is 0.723. R square is 0.523. Adjusted R square is 0.520. And Durbin Watson is actually 1.691. 1.691. So let us see how to interpret. The correlation between the independent and dependent variables is found to be very good, that is 0.723. And the adjusted R square is 4.520. That means, what does it mean? 52% of changes in financial well-being of women in Kerala is explained by or influenced by financial socialization, self-efficacy, and financial behavior. Got it? 52%. That is, adjusted R score is 0.520. Multiply it with 100. That fraction becomes a percentage. Okay. So 52% of the changes in financial well-being is caused due to financial socialization they have received while they were kids and at home, and their own financial self-efficacy and financial behavior. Okay, so that's a very great, wonderful finding. 52% of financial well-being is influenced by these three factors. Okay, and look at the ANOVA table. ANOVA table shows, what does it show? Actually, that is significance value is important. Significance value is 0.000. That is less than 0.05 because we are testing at 5% level of significance. So significance value is 0.000. Okay, that means the model is significant. That means, what does it mean? That indicates the financial well-being of women in Kerala is significantly influenced by the financial socialization they got while they were young, their own financial self-efficacy, and their financial discipline. Okay, that's a wonderful finding. Then you come to coefficients table. That's very important. Coefficients table is very, very important. See, in coefficients table, you have to look at the beta, standardized coefficients beta. Values are 0.248, 0.506, and 0.094. With respect to financial self-efficacy, the beta is 0.248. And in case of financial behavior, it is 0.506. And the financial socialization, it is 0.094. You compare them. Say, for example, if you are good in writing regression model, y is equal to alpha plus beta 1 plus beta 2 plus beta 3 plus epsilon, that is error term. That's the equation. Y represents the dependent variable, that is financial well-being. Financial well-being of a person is equal to the average, that is alpha. Then beta 1 refers to here 0.248. 248 of self-efficacy, 0.506 of financial behavior, and 0.094 of financial socialization. So out of that, you can identify which one is having more impact on financial well-being of women. The highest standardized coefficient beta is with respect to financial behavior, that is 0.0506. So you can simply say that financial behavior or financial discipline of women is the most important determinant of their financial well-being, followed by financial self-efficacy. And this study shows financial socialization is having comparatively lower significance or lower effect on financial well-being. Okay. And you see collinearity statistics, tolerance, and VIF. VIF refers to variance inflation factor. Variance inflation factor. Actually, we need only one, either tolerance or the variance inflation factor. Higher the variance inflation factor, less will be the higher the tolerance value of tolerance, less will be the variance inflation factor, because variance inflation factor is the reciprocal of tolerance. Okay. See, remember, this variance inflation factor shall not be more than 10. Shall not be more than 10. Here they are very little. That means there is no question of multicollinearity. There is no question of multicollinearity. Okay, that's all about multiple regression. I hope you have some sort of understanding about simple regression and multiple regression. Now we are moving on to Hayes process macro, how to use this Hayes process macro. See, suppose we are dealing with two independent variables, namely financial socialization and financial attitude, and one independent variable, financial self-efficacy. If you want to do a multiple linear regression, the relationship will be expressed like this. This is a case of multiple regression where there are two independent variables. You can have more independent variables. Here only there are only two independent variables and one dependent variable, that is financial self-efficacy. This picture represents the fact that, or the argument of the researcher that, financial socialization and financial attitude significantly influence financial self-efficacy of women. Okay, you can use the data and test it. I'm not going to do that. See, the same thing can be expressed in another way. Can be expressed in another way. Same thing it is financial self-efficacy. This is the dependent variable. There are two independent variables, that is financial socialization and financial attitude. Okay, what is the difference between the older picture and this one? Actually, the relationship between financial socialization and financial self-efficacy is the direct effect. When one independent variable, when we study the effect of one independent variable on another variable, we call it as direct effect. So FS to FSE, that is financial socialization on financial self-efficacy, if we take these two, we call it as direct effect. Likely, when we study financial attitude, the effect of financial attitude on financial self-efficacy, that is also direct effect. And financial socialization on financial attitude, this is also a direct effect. But when we study financial socialization to financial attitude to financial self-efficacy, we call it as mediation analysis or mediated effect. Okay, so financial socialization is having a direct effect on financial self-efficacy and an indirect effect through financial attitude. In mediation, we are studying the indirect effect of one independent variable on the dependent variable. We are studying two things: direct effect of financial socialization on financial self-efficacy and indirect effect of financial socialization through financial attitude. So remember the word through. Financial, you can see the path. If you are regularly reading some articles, you may be familiar with the path. Here the path is financial socialization to financial attitude and attitude to self-efficacy. This is indirect effect of financial socialization on financial self-efficacy, and this financial socialization to financial self-efficacy is the direct. So this is the case of mediation. So we are expected to learn something basic facts about mediation analysis. In simple mediation can be simple or complicated. In simple mediation, there are three variables, namely x. X is the independent variable, y is the dependent variable, and a mediating variable called m. Remember, in simple mediation, a simple mediation means a mediation analysis with only one mediator. Only one mediator. We can have more number of mediators. In simple mediation, we are taking only one mediator. In a simple mediation, there are three variables, namely x, that is the independent variable, y, the dependent variable, and the mediating variable is labeled as m. And mediation analysis actually helps us to study the indirect effect of m in the relationship between x and y. Indirect effect of m in the relationship between x and y. We are studying about the relationship between x and y. Between x and y, what is the role of m? That is what the indirect effect. In mediation analysis, actually, a researcher tries to establish that the independent variable x affects mediator and in turn m affects y. That is what mediation means. In mediation analysis, the researcher tries to establish that the independent variable, we labeled it as x, that is affecting the mediator, and in turn the mediator affects y. That is why we call it as indirect effect. Okay. See this. We have independent variable called x, dependent variable called y, and mediating variable called m. You can see this A. A represents the regression coefficient of x on m. Say for example, if we are running a simple regression by taking m as a dependent variable and x as an independent variable, then what should be the regression coefficient? Regression coefficient means the standardized coefficient beta. Okay. What should be the regression coefficient? That is what is labeled as A. And B represents the regression coefficient of m on y. That is, we are running an independent a simple regression by taking m as an independent variable and y as a dependent variable, the coefficient is labeled as b. And C stands for the regression coefficient of x on y. Say if we are running 3 simple regressions, that is x on m on y, and x on y, the regression coefficients are labeled as A, B, C. Okay, always remember this. This A and B actually represents indirect effects and C represents direct effect. Total effect of x on y will be A into B, this one, this A into B plus C. These are actually indirect effects. So A is multiplied with B, and with the product of A and B, we add the regression coefficient of C, you will get total effect. So we have direct effect, indirect effect, and total effect. Note that we have 3 different types of values. One is direct effect, indirect effect, and total effect. Okay. And we are actually expected to learn some conditions for mediation. Actually, you remember there are some controversies or there are some differences of opinion among different experts regarding these conditions also. The founders or the pioneers like Hayes says 3 conditions are to be satisfied for running a mediation analysis. That is, x is a significant predictor of y. That means the effect of x on y should be significant. Then x is a significant predictor of m. The effect of x on m should be significant, and m predicts y significantly. That means all the regression coefficients while doing the independent simple regression should be significant. That's all. Some experts are saying these assumptions are actually not required. Okay, that's also there. There is another test for doing mediation, which is very simple, but I am not explaining it in detail. This can be done simply online. The steps are here. You are expected to run a simple regression of x on m and set the unstandardized regression coefficient A and standard error of A. Okay, you remember while running a simple regression, you will get standardized coefficient, unstandardized coefficient, then okay, and standard error also you will get. We are labeling it. You run a simple linear regression of x on m and save unstandardized regression coefficient A. And the standard error of A is labeled as SA, standard error. Then run a multiple regression of x and m on y. That means you take x and m are as independent variables and y as a dependent variable. Then you save the unstandardized regression coefficient B and standard error of B, that is SB. Okay, you are first of all running a simple regression by taking x as an independent variable and a mediating variable m as a dependent variable. Note down the regression coefficient and the standard error. Then run a multiple regression by taking both the independent variable and the mediator as independent variables and the y as a dependent variable, and note down the regression coefficient, unstandardized regression coefficient B and standard error of B, that is SB. Use a Sobel test computer calculator using WebLink. You simply in the web you simply search for Sobel test. You definitely will get a Sobel test computer calculator. The web ID is here. Okay, then apply it. I'm not explaining in detail the Sobel test because that's what not within the scope of the study. We are actually studying about Hayes process macro. This is actually a bootstrap method. Bootstrapping method. Actually, bootstrapping methods are computer techniques that allow for resampling of a large sample to provide an. Actually, this is the standard explanation. I would like to explain in my own way. Say, for example, if you have a sample of 460, the greatest question is that when the sample is 460 or 500 or 600, it is very, very difficult for primary data to become or to get normal primary data satisfying all conditions. So you can inflate the sample size. This 460 can be inflated to 5,000 or 10,000 by using computerized techniques. The Hayes process macro is automatically doing that. We don't want to do anything. Scientifically, they are doing it with the help of the data available. They are resampling. They will inflate the number of samples. Samples can be increased to 5,000 or 10,000, so that you don't want to bother about the normality of the variables under study. Many problems, many preconditions are not at all tested because the sample becomes so large. When sample becomes so large, automatically the variables will become normal. The problems of heteroscedasticity or the normality of error terms, all problems will be removed. That's the advantage of Hayes process macro. That's what is known as bootstrapping. Okay, the most important advantage of bootstrapping is that there is no need for testing normality. 75% I would like to process macro written by Hayes, which is freely available. Anyone can use it. And you can attach this Hayes process macro with SPSS. That procedure is explained. Actually, I can't show how to do it because already this system is having process macro. So the system will not allow the repetition of the procedure. So I can explain it. The organizers will definitely give you some guidelines regarding how to link process macro with SPSS. Okay. See, I definitely will upload this PPT so that you don't want to write down this web address. Okay, download the process macro from the below given web ID. You can download it. You extract the file and identify the process for SPSS. You are expected to extract the file. That's a very big file. You have to extract it and identify the process for SPSS. Then You open SPSS. While opening SPSS, you can see the utilities. A tab is there, utilities. You click on that utilities table. A dialog box will be there. You install by clicking on custom dialog. Simply click on custom dialog. If your SPSS version is 23 or above, automatically the software will be merged. That is, the process macro will be merged. So this is the procedure. Organizers will definitely help you if you don't know. Many YouTube videos are there regarding the explaining the procedure. Okay. First of all, we are going to discuss model number. There are different models. Actually, the pictures of this model is drawn by the researcher. Definitely, there are so many models, and the models, the original pictures are given in the material which I have given. I have given a book written by Hayes. Backside of the book shows almost 100 different models. We are dealing with some of them. So this is the fifth model. Here we have an independent variable called X and a dependent variable called Y. And we have a mediating variable called M. Also, you can see a W, which is a moderating variable. This is not simply mediation. We are studying mediation as well as moderation. Okay. If model number 5, if this is the problem you want to address in your research, actually you have to visualize your own research themes like this. Then only you will be able to understand it. Okay. I'm interested in knowing the mediating effect of financial self-efficacy on the financial well-being and the moderating effect of gender equality. Moderating effect of gender equality. So I am testing how far this M is, you can see M is financial self-efficacy and X is financial socialization. There is a direct relationship between X and Y. That is, this relationship says financial socialization is having significant effect on the Y, that is financial well-being. At the same time, this model says there is an indirect effect of X on Y through the mediator. Here the mediator is financial self-efficacy. And also this model says the gender equality is moderating the relationship between X and Y, that is financial socialization and financial well-being. Okay, if this is the case, we have to see how to test it. Okay, so I'm moving on. Always remember, you need to have your own ideas regarding your research. Only then you will be able to understand why a diagram like this. Okay, so we are moving. See this, our SPSS file. For doing the test, you have to go to analyze. Since mediation and moderation are regression analysis, regression, then come to, you can see while incorporating process, this your software will show process V4.2 by Andrew F. Hayes. You click on that. Earlier in simple linear regression, we have clicked on linear. Now we are clicking on process V4.2 by Andrew P. Hayes. So click on it. Okay. First of all, you are expected to enter the Y variable. What was the Y variable? That was financial well-being. Okay. Select it and click here. Financial well-being is here. Then you have to enter the X variable. X variable is socialization, financial socialization. So X variable. Now we have to incorporate the mediator. What is the mediator? Financial self-efficacy. Financial self-efficacy is placed in mediator. Now we have a W variable, which is in the model given by me, it is gender equality. So it is selected and brought here. Okay. You always remember this model number. If you, while doing this, you have to give the right model number, only then it will run. All of you are requested to carefully listen while coding the variables in your SPSS file. That is, while giving the name of the variable. It should be coded properly with having less than 5 letters. Less than 5 letters. When the number of letters is more, say for example, if you are writing financial self-efficacy as whole, the system will say there is some sort of mistake. Error notice will be there. So you have to code it very properly, only then it will run. Okay. So all variables are, then now you have to click on options. While clicking on options, you will get this. Okay. You have to click generate code for visualizing interactions. Generate code for visualizing interactions. For model number 5, that is enough. Okay. Then you don't want to click here. See, only continuous variable. This is, you always remember, all the variables I have used for this test are continuous, that is scaled variable. Okay. So only continuous variables that define products. Then you have to click on this one, -1 standard deviation, mean plus 1 standard deviation. Those who have studied quantitative techniques know -1 standard deviation plus 1 standard deviation. Okay, then you also click on Johnson-Neyman output. That's also important. Okay, that's another test. So continue. Then you have to give OK. Okay. You can see the output here. Okay, model number 5. Y variable is FWB, that is financial well-being. X is socialization. Then M is self-efficacy, and W is gender equality. you will get a number of output columns. Output statements are there, the tables are there. You have to look first. See the outcome variable. First of all, we are taking self-efficacy as the outcome variable and socialization as independent variable. That is, mediator is taken as a dependent variable and the independent variable is taken as independent. See the R is 0.430 and R square is 0.18. R square 0.18 means what? 0.1856 means 18.56% of change in self-efficacy is influenced by financial socialization. Okay. Then you look at this P. P is 0.000. What does it mean? That is, socialization is significantly affecting financial self-efficacy of women. Remember, what does it mean? Financial socialization is significantly affecting the financial self-efficacy. Say this here also. The p-value of socialization is 0.000. This is also very important. LLCI, ULCI. LLCI means lower level confidence interval and ULCI means upper level confidence interval. See, looking at the lower level confidence interval and upper level confidence interval, one can easily say that whether the effect is significant or not. If there is no zero in between LLCI and ULCI, see, 0.3 in between 0.3099 and 0.4557, is there any zero in between? You imagine it, think about it. There is no zero. But on the other hand, if one item is minus and the other item is positive, definitely there will be a zero in between. So when there is no zero in between lower level confidence interval and upper level confidence interval, that means the effect is significant. If here we have p-value, it is 0. That means socialization is significantly affecting the self-efficacy. So the first test is over. Moving on to second test. Here we have a very detailed table, that is financial well-being, FWB, is taken as the outcome variable, and socialization, self-efficacy, gender equality, and interaction is also taken as a variable. I would like to tell you exactly what is interaction. Okay, see, look at look at the R value. It is 0.65, R square is 0.42, and the p value is 0.000. That means the correlation is significant. Then look at each variable, socialization, whether it is significant. Look at the p values. Second p value represents the socialization. It is 0.000. That means socialization is significantly influencing financial well-being. Then another, self-efficacy. Self-efficacy or also significantly influence the financial well-being because the p-value is 0.000. Gender equality is also significantly influencing financial well-being because the p-value is 0.0. Interaction between the moderator and the independent variable. What is the moderator? Gender equality. What is independent variable? Socialization. Interaction means what? Interaction is socialization into gender equality. The values of socialization and gender equality are multiplied, and that is taken as a variable. So interaction is also significant because the p-value is less than 0.05. You carefully look at it. It is 0.0065. That is less than 0.05. Okay. All these are actually significant. Okay. Now, look at the conditional effects of the focal predictor. Gender equality, we are actually here. You look at this gender equality at different levels of gender equality. What is the effect? If gender equality is the least, that is minus 0.9276, minus represents the least. You imagine the case of normal distribution. At one side of normal distribution, standard normal distribution, one side will be negative and the other side will be positive. Negative represents less and positive represents high. Okay, so when gender equality is least, then its effect is 0.3537. 0.3537. Effect is 3537 and it is significant. When gender equality in family is less, it is significantly affecting the financial well-being. Okay. And the effect is 0.3537. And the center point, that is 0.000. You always remember the normal distribution, the standardized values of Z, the center will be 0. Okay, so when the gender equality is increased from minus 0.927 to 0.000 means the gender equality is increased, then its effect is reduced. See this effect was when gender equality was minimum, effect was 0.35. When gender equality is increased, the effect is reduced to 0.28. And when gender equality is again increased to 0.9276, the effect is reduced. That means more the gender equality, the effect on financial well-being is less. That is the meaning. Higher the gender equality, the effect of financial well-being or the moderating effect of gender equality will be less. Okay. See this. You can see this. This table gives interesting finding. Actually, in this test, not much interesting because you look at the p-values. All the p-values are less than 0.05. All the p-values are less than 0.05. So that means at any level of gender equality, its moderating effect is significant. That means, what does it mean? Gender equality at any level is a significant factor influencing the financial well-being of women. Okay, we have to explain something more, but the time is actually limited. So I would like to stop now, and for the remaining 10 minutes, you can ask some questions. We can continue this in the next class. So you may raise your queries so that I can respond. Okay, please. Please raise your queries. Only then this becomes meaningful. Otherwise.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Sir, this is Shilpi. I wanted to ask a query. Like in the present model 5 path, when you were choosing X variables and Y variable, we chose financial well-being as Y variable and socialization as X variable. So, sir, was there something logic to it, like which variable will go for X and which will go for Y?
Definitely.
Can you explain that, sir? I can understand.
That is actually pure research methodology. I would like to explain it. See, while doing some sort of research, we are reading the articles written by people across globe. You can see different types of relationships existing between variables which are being proved. While going through the literature regarding household financial management or personal financial management, you can see that in several places, it is proved that better financial socialization positively influence financial well-being. That's general statement. But this is being proved across different categories of people in different parts of the world. Here we are testing whether this is true in case of Kerala. So this kind of relationship is taken or observed from the existing literature. Sometimes the existing literature may not have the relationship, may not be explaining the relationship between the variables under our study, because our study may be contemporary in nature. Then you should have a logic to explain that or to establish that this is the kind of relationship I'm studying and what is the logic behind that. Okay, that's all, Silpa. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Excuse me, sir.
Okay, Rinsi.
Sir, good evening. My name is Rinsi Antony.
Okay.
I just had a couple of questions. One is you were talking about, I hope you're able to hear me, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So you were talking about lower levels and upper levels of confidence interval where we need to look for a zero value. So, and you showcased an example where both the LLC and ULC weren't positive. So is it okay the same logic applies to both the low levels will be negative as still you don't have a zero in between?
Yes,
so
definitely.
Is this possible?
Yes, definitely.
And still it will be significant.
That's also possible. Sure.
Okay. And my another question is about the T statistic value that we saw in that table you were showing about, where you were emphasizing more on looking at the LLCI, ULCI values and also the P values, whether it is less than 0.05.
In some places you will get P values, but in some other cases you will not get it. Then you have to look at the upper level confidence interval and the lower level confidence. That's why I'm telling you this is important.
Okay, so that means if p value is significant and that zero is also not there, so that means by default t statistic will also be significant. Is it like that?
Yeah, definitely. When p value is less than 0.05, the in between the ULC and LLC, there will not be zero.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much for the answer.
Thank you for the nice questions. Okay. Please.
Sir, whether there will be difficulty to install the process macro in SPSS version 20? Myself have the SPSS version 20. Whether there will be any difficulty to install the process?
There are provisions. Definitely, organizers will help you. You can copy and paste and so on. Okay, there's a procedure for that.
Okay.
Okay, they will help.
Sir, good evening.
Good evening.
Sir, I have doubt with regard to multiple linear regression.
Okay.
Suppose I have in my mind two independent variables and one dependent variable. Suppose in the testing, one independent variable only showing an effect on the dependent variable.
Okay.
In that case, it means the model is not correct, or we can say?
That doesn't mean that is actually if you believe that two independent variables are affecting one dependent variable, your model is like that. But while testing the data, you see one variable is significant and the other is insignificant. You can report like that, no problem. Whether the model is right or wrong or significant depends on the significance value at the ANOVA table. Okay, but you remember while writing the regression equation, usually people belonging to commerce and management will not usually write the equations. But if you are writing the regression equation, you cannot write the equation, the beta value of insignificant variable. That's important thing. But if in the AI-related research models, they are actually using the regression models. Here, when we see some variables, some independent variables are not significant, they will add more and more samples and see whether the variable is significant. But that procedure is not applicable, not possible in our case. Okay.
Okay, sir. Then, sir, one more doubt regarding
Okay.
the mediation analysis.
Okay.
Okay, while perform the mediation analysis, the result is showing full mediation.
Okay,
That means the model is wrong or correct?
No. That the model is not a model wrong or right is not at all a question. I haven't explained the full mediation and partial mediation because of a lack of time. I'll definitely explain it in the next class. Full mediation doesn't mean the model is not right. Before that, we are actually testing the effect of independent variable with the dependent variable. That may be showing a significant effect. But when we are adding one mediator, the direct effect between independent and dependent variable become insignificant. Then only we will say that is full mediation. Okay, that will be dealt in the next class.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, sir, for a truly enlightening first session. Your guidance has been incredibly clear and insightful. And with that, we come to the end of day 1 of our online workshop. We appreciate all of you for your active participation and engagement. We will continue with the second day tomorrow. We invite you all to join us again at the same time, 7 p.m. using the same link. We really look forward to seeing you all tomorrow. Have a good night.
Okay, thank you, Anna.
Thank you, sir.